And we are here with Buddy Melton from Balsam Range here at IBMA 2019. Last night at the awards, you guys put on awesome shows, and let's just get right into it. First, welcome to Backstage View, and let me ask you about something amazing last night with Balsam Range. You guys play with a lot of students well, tell us about it.
Yeah, that was the North Carolina State Symphony, made up primarily of students from NC State. And I always thought it was a great opportunity to do a collaboration. We were nominated for a project that was a collaboration with us and the Atlanta Pops Orchestra. We thought it'd be a great opportunity to bring in some collegiate aspect and tie into to the city we're in. Raleigh has hosted this event and does such a great job, and we wanted to bring other elements of music into the IBMAs, and so it was a wonderful performance. They played so well, and it's such a big, beautiful sound to have. You know, you wouldn't think, but bluegrass with an orchestra really works. I mean, you know, music is essentially a universal language, and you know, it's every style of music is made up of the same notes for the most part. It's just how you arrange them and how you present them and play them. But so to bring two different genres together, it was a beautiful sound and a big sound. We really enjoyed it, and the kids really loved doing it, and we're going to do some more with them.
Well, if I thought it was interesting when we were just speaking a moment ago how you said how the dynamic of they are looking at sheet music and you guys aren't, and somehow you make it work. Like it sounds pretty cool. But also you did other symphonies as well. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, we've done quite a bit. We've been working on scores. We got a great composer out of Atlanta, Georgia, associated with Atlanta Pops, that's worked on writing parts for all our music that we want to try to do with orchestras, and so we've taken that on the road and done several shows. A lot with Atlanta Pops, a lot with some other collegiate programs, some other orchestras around the country, and it's a fun way to grow our music and get in front of people who normally wouldn't hear bluegrass music, and they leave there with appreciation for it that they wouldn't have otherwise, because they're more, you know, their thought wasn't that bluegrass was something they would love, and they leave there loving it. So it's a good opportunity to grow our music, I think.
Right. Now, you're from Balsam Range is from the general area, and you were explaining to me back in the day when you started how it's quite different than now. But how did it start? Like, how'd you guys get together, and why did you get together?
Well, we all live in western North Carolina in the county called Haywood County. It's Waynesville, Canton, Maggie Valley, that area, right in the center of where the Blue Ridge Parkway meets the Great Smokies. That's where we live, in that range of mountains that's primarily along the parkway. It's called the Great Balsam Range, and so we took our name from that area. That's the backbone of our region, heritage-wise. The mountains have always, you know, it's been very much the bluegrass music is a big part of the heritage of our area. Music is Appalachians, a big part of it. So we took that. We really weren't intending to do much outside of playing locally. We got together to jam. All of us live in the same county. We had done different things. Mark was with Ricky Skaggs for a while. I was doing some different musical things and the country stuff and bluegrass in Nashville, and Caleb was doing some gospel stuff, and Darren was traveling with Lisa Nugent at the time. But we just kind of found ourselves off the road at the same time, so we just got together to jam for the fun of it, and 13 years later we're still jamming. But it's kind of, we weren't intending to try to grow it. It's just the music has opportunities to be heard more now than it used to be, without being on the road, with internet-based opportunities and, you know, satellite radio. We started getting calls from all over the country and abroad, and so it's just every year seems to be growing.
Did you guys grow up together and know each other from childhood?
Well, we've known each other. I mean, you know, we didn't necessarily grow up together. There's quite an age difference in our band. You know, Mark Pruitt is nearing 70, you know, and then our youngest guy is still in his 30s. So there's several different age groups here, but you know, the beauty is we all grew up in the same area. We have the same basic upbringing and appreciation for the Appalachians and the music. So we have a very center core of who we are and how we were brought up, and so that it's kind of like a family aspect, and so that helps. But I played with Mark. It's funny. I played with Mark in a band with his brother years ago, and then Tim's father and Mark played music together, and they played some, and Caleb and I played in the band, and Darren and Tim played in the group, and so we kind of did some things, but never all at the same time. So when we got together to jam, it was just an opportunity to have fun, but we realized pretty quickly there was something special about it, and so we just kept doing it, and then it kind of grew into what it is.
Well, you all had day jobs or whatever it was. At what point did you decide, let's take it on the road? Was it that easy to just, everyone was looking forward to just hitting the road?
I think it was more of a natural growth, and I think it should be. You know, sometimes when you try to force things to happen, it makes it harder. Stress involved in trying to make it happen. And this was a beautiful situation for us because we all lived in the same town. We all had similar family needs. We had young kids, and things that we all needed and wanted the same thing. And so we were working and playing music. It kept growing, and it naturally turned into what it is. And I think that took some of the pressure of stress of trying to make it happen.
Well, you were male vocalist of the year up until last night, but the songs that you guys have a lot of really big hit songs, which just for bluegrass to have a big hit song like even beyond our genre is pretty amazing. How long were you guys together till you started hitting these big songs, and how was it? Like, was it shocking to you guys that you got such success?
Well, yeah, it was shocking to have success. I never intended to be doing this, and to win the male vocalist thing was something I never in my wildest dreams would have thought I would ever achieve, and to get that several times with folks like, Russell Moore won it last night, one of my all-time favorite singers. I mean, he will go down in history as one of the greatest bluegrass singers, and that whole list of nominees, Tim O'Brien's one of my favorites. All those guys are a big influence on me, and so I was honored to be part of that group and part of those award-winning group. But going back to the music of Balsam Range, I mean, it does come down to the song. The song is, if you don't have good songs, it doesn't set you apart. And so, to be successful in music, you have to have some originality, you have to have some quality, and it all starts with the song. And so from day one, the funny thing about Balsam Range, the first project they asked us to do, we were going to be the band for the folks that own Bill Monroe's music wanted to do a project with a bunch of guests, and we were going to be the core band for all Monroe song catalog. And we started that process, and then we realized, this is not, we love his music, but that's not who we are. We have some original music, we write songs. And so that first project, Marching Home, we had half Monroe songs with guests like Joe Diffie and other folks on it, but the rest of it was Balsam Range original music, because we felt strongly that we need to have our own originality. And that's songs like Blue Mountain and Burning Georgia Down, and all those were on the first album, and those were the standout tracks because they had originality and they defined more who we were, and I'm glad we did that because it is a very important part of it.
What's the process like when you are putting together the songs? Is someone just show up with a song and say, let's do it, or is it more of like it changes big time from day one till you're ready to put it out? It's
a kind of a combination of all that. I mean, I'll have a song that I've really hear that I think would make a good Balsam Range song, and we'll generally, we're so busy all year long, then we get to the point like we are right now currently, like we need some new music out. It's a very important part of the growth of Balsam Range, and the music is to constantly keep some new stuff out. So we're in the process right now of getting together once or twice a week, trying stuff out. A lot of times we'll try a song, it's just not working, and then we'll get away from it and we'll come back a year later or a month later and try it in a different key with a different person singing, and it kind of clicks then. So it's a combination of, it all boils down to finding quality songs. And then, I always laugh. I pitched to the guys Trains I Missed like 2 or 3 times. It got passed on 2 records, and it turned out to be one of our iconic songs, Song of the Year, one of our first awards, and it was the title track off the album. And timing is everything, and so that song, it just wasn't its time before, and it turned out to be the standout for the 3rd album, Trains I Missed, and that's happened multiple times with us. We have songs. I've got a song right now that we're working on that I've been trying to work in for 6 years or so. It just didn't seem to be the right time. So. But, we've been blessed with great friends who are songwriters, like Mylon Miller, grew up in Waynesville, same town we are, and fabulous songwriter and has a big influence on our music, and other writers that we really connect with. And that's a huge part of Balsam Range sound is the original songs, I think.
Well, when we were speaking before, you said back in the old days you were handling the booking and things like that. So now everything's changed. You guys have some great success. Has the process changed as far as the music?
Well, early days, the business side of music is a very important part of it, and a lot of people forget that. It is, at some point, it has to make sense. If you're going to be gone all the time away from your family, it has to be a successful business that's providing as well. And so that's important, and if you're not careful, that part will take away from the artistic side of it. So at some point we had to say, we just need to turn this over to professionals who are doing that, and so we can be artists again and create. And so we've got a great staff. We got Mike Drudge, who's booking us now, and he's been booking us for a long time. He understands what we need, what we want, and so that kind of helps and knows the path we're trying to grow and try to achieve new things. So it's a team effort, and it really takes getting together. Routinely, we get together and brainstorm. What do we want to achieve this year? What do we want to try to go? What areas we want to grow into? And so that's a team effort. That's the record company, booking agents, tour management, band, family. All that has to be taken into consideration.
Would you recommend the business to your kids?
It's a tough business. I tell my kids, do something you're passionate about, regardless of what it is. If you're passionate about it, then everything else works out, and you're not as worried about the money and all the other aspects. You're just having fun doing something you're passionate about. And so that's important for us, to get to do something we love to do. How do you put a price to that, really?
Well, how do we find you on, I know, just go to social media, but let's just say what your website is, and so people that are watching this could write that down.
Yeah, our website's balsamrange.com. You got a lot of tour information, new projects coming up. We got our own festival coming up. This is a great music festival as well.
When's that gonna be?
So we do a festival first week in December in Lake Junaluska, which is in the lake. They got a kind of a conference center on the lake, got hotels and stuff on the lake, and a big indoor amphitheater seats or indoor theater auditorium seats a couple thousand, and it's weather can't wreck it. And it was called the Art of Music Festival, and we got some great lineup this year. Sister Sadie's coming, Tim O'Brien Band, Daryl Scott. We're actually playing a full set with the Atlanta Pops Orchestra, so it's a kind of a hodgepodge of different things, but it's an incredibly wonderful festival. So
when is it?
It's the first weekend in December.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So that's the indoor aspect of it.
That's the indoor aspect, but it's all, we do some workshops, we do some songwriter stuff. A lot of these influential songwriters like Adam Wright, Milo Miller, John Wiggins, Mark Bumgarner, all these folks have been a part of us. They come, we do songwriting workshops. We also do songwriting performances so that songwriters do their thing, because it's sometimes fun to see. It's one thing to hear Balsam Range do a Milo Miller song. It's another thing to hear him do his version of it, and they're never the same. But I sometimes love to hear the songwriter's version of their song, because it has, what they envision for it is not always what we do. But it's just fun to hear that side of it. Daryl Scott's one of those guys that he's had so many great songs, and I've been a fan of his songs through other artists, and then you hear him do it, and it's like, wow, there it is. That's there's nothing like with somebody who really feels that, that it's part of who they are. It came out of them. It's a different element.
Yeah, great. Well, thanks for talking to us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, and I hope you enjoy the IBMA.
Absolutely. Thank you.